Sure.
Hi, this is David Skarika, editor of addictedtoprofits.net. With me today and another one of our series of interviews with small cap opportunities is Andrew Lee, the CEO and director of Pheonix Gold Corporation. Just so you know, Gold Resources, just so you know, this is a little different than the name of the company right now, because actually they're mainly drilling in their Newfoundland project, which is actually mostly copper, zinc, and even some cobalt they hit recently. So Andrew, thanks for being with us today. And obviously too, I know a lot of my investors also invested in Newfound Gold, which has been one of the hottest deals in the market over the past 12, 18 months. So this is also in a great jurisdiction, which is Newfoundland, which is actually one of the better jurisdictions to be in right now. And Andrew also came to me through a friend of mine who I've invested in a few of his deals and done well in as well. So Andrew, thanks for being here. And maybe just to start, tell us a bit about yourself. We always like to know the background of the people in these deals, how you got involved with this deal, and then you can talk about your drill results and what's going right now, because you have had some exciting results. And actually, should be noted that Mike Swanson and I started covering the stock at the beginning of the month, and it's actually gone from about the mid to late 40s into the low 70s today. It's done fantastic, which is, and since the summer, you guys have more than doubled. And, I know that's been very difficult in this resource market.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on the show, David. And I think, the results that we've been getting from phase one and from phase two now, and that's what's really driving the share price. A little bit about myself. I've kind of been in the junior mining space for the past, 15 years. This is the first time I've taken the CEO role on in Pheonix Gold. And, I've been a long-time director. I was a director from 2014 and, just felt the timing was right to get back into mining. So, we got into this project back in, March in Newfoundland. The York Harbor mine, there was a past producing mine back in the, early 1900s. And it just looked very promising. Copper was, it wasn't, stellar, but we saw a very bright future with electric vehicles and sort of the transition to, renewables. And you can't have electricity without copper. So, we did the deal, did a little bit of surface, preliminary work, got ready for drilling. And so far our first drill program was a pretty good success. So, we had some decent copper numbers, very interesting cobalt numbers, and we just kind of extended it right through into phase two, which we started, in October. And now we, from what we can see, we put out a couple of press releases updating the project and the progress. And as we can see, we're consistently hitting semi and massive sulfides. So,
and actually on your website, if you go on, which is pheonixgoldresources.ca, which I'll put a link to as well, people can see some of the core there and some of the oxidized rocks, etc., and where you are. And maybe you could tell us a little bit geographically where you are in Newfoundland, like how close you are to the infrastructure around the area, how close you are to say some towns or city centers, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're probably about 27 kilometers away from Corner Brook, which is the main city town with, I think there's about 10 to 15,000 people in Corner Brook. Our nearest airport is in Deer Lake, and that's well within driving distance to York Harbor. So it's we also have access to D port. York Harbor, it is a D port. The project is literally about probably a little bit over 700 meters to port. So, everything is well positioned with the project. It's got access to highway, it's got access to infrastructure, and it's got access to a deep port as well. So these are all positive things for when you're kind of going through the checklist on reviewing a project. Yeah, I mean, like now our job is, it's very simple. We just need to prove up the resource.
Yeah. And so, you've talked about, and I've shown, just so you know, I'm screen sharing, and I've shown the last, the press release, which was about in October, of showing that, 47.7 meters of 0.85% copper, and some of the cobalt holes, and zinc and silver, et cetera. So in terms of your drilling going forward, what's the plan as well?
Well, I mean, right now we are we're using a lot of the historical data. There was a lot of work that was done by Noranda where, they hit massive sulfides without assay results. So now we're just kind of doing basically spacing within about 10 meters apart, very tight drilling. And that is going to all contribute to a resource, which can happen as early as next year. And right now, with the tight spacing that we've got, we'll have a better understanding of hopefully connecting a lot of the lenses that we're hitting, all these zones. Right now, there's about 13, 14 zones that are known. But if you look at the property, there could be tens, if not hundreds of these little lenses and zones throughout the entirety of the site. We've expanded the claims from about 650 hectares, and I think we're sitting at about 3,900 hectares now. So the scope of the project is, I think it's probably about 5-6-fold right now compared to what it was historically. So I think if, some guys use the term, size of the prize, that's the work that we're doing to see how big is this prize.
And it should be noted too, I know you did a financing in early November, just over a week ago, or roughly a week ago, you announced a flow through. So after those two financings, well, one in November is already completed, but when the flow through is completed, what is your cash situation like as well?
Oh yeah, I think, the program that we have going on right now, it's about 4,200 meters of drilling in phase 2. What we're doing right now currently is expanding on that phase 2. So in a way, it's going to be a quasi phase 2, phase 3 that we're jumping into and extending hopefully to about 10,000 meters total. So, if you look at it'll take us probably, the money we raise right now will take us probably to late spring. So if we continue to see the results that we're seeing, I think the company will be well funded throughout 2022.
Yeah, and it should be noted, one advantage, of course, you have when this is very simple, but when your stock price goes up, is all of a sudden, when you're raising $4 million at 50 cents instead of 10 cents, all of a sudden you're only, you're only issuing 8 million shares and not 40 million, so yeah. That always helps as well. Because, I know deals that have done very well and they're multiple dollars, and, when they raise, 10 or $20 million, they're only issuing, a few million shares, so it becomes less dilutive. It's kind of like success breeds more success. Yeah. So, that's always a positive as well. So, so I guess that's about it for now. And like I said, this has been great because, it's been frustrating for a lot of people in the junior mining industry. And this has been a stock that's done fantastic. And by the way, one reason it came to my attention was, my contact that brought it to my attention, a guy named Blair Naughty, and Blair bought $130,000 worth of shares, I think back in the spring. And you always like to see large shareholders or insiders, buy as well. That's usually a good sign.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we've pretty much kept the structure intact. Even on this financing, a lot of the insiders are actually writing checks. So it's I think coming out of it, the structure should stay intact with what we've seen in the past. We haven't blown up the structure. So I think that's the key advantage for a company like us. We've been able to.
Yeah, because even at 75 cents, I think you only have about a $28 million market cap. Obviously, that will go up after the last financings. You got to add another 8 million shares onto that, but that's pretty
Yeah.
tight for a company that's this kind of advanced,
Yeah, and I think I think what's not reflected in our share price right now is the project that's developing. I think once the results come, and we've got another 200 samples from phase one that we still have to that we're still waiting on. Once those assay results come in, I think we'll see some more progress in the value of the company.
Okay, yeah. So again, thanks for the update, and we'll like I said, maybe when the next round of results come up, we'll talk again.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it, and I think once the results are in hand, I think we'll have a few more speaking points than than just some good-looking cores.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so. Knock on wood, right? So
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for your
Okay.
time, David.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Okay.